Chapter 41 Father, please allow me to report in detail. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The palace loomed ahead. Ning Fan had braced himself for Emperor Yu's summons. Plus, he'd stumbled onto a major secret. True or false, Xianxia was a dead man, and the envelope in his hand was solid proof. All the way there, Jinyiwei kept glancing at Ning Fan, like he wanted to say something but didn't know how. Finally, as they approached the palace, he said quietly, "Your Highness, when you see His Majesty, please think carefully. Just admit it." Oh. Ning Fan paused, a smile spreading across his face. "Commander Jing, what exactly am I supposed to be guilty of?" "Well." Jinyiwei, seeing Ning Fan's nonchalant attitude, whispered, "Lord Lu, the Minister of Revenue, is a high-ranking official. Even if he messed up, it should have been reported to His Majesty and handed over to the Ministry of Justice for trial. But you not only." "Ha!" Ning Fan laughed, cutting him off. "Commander Jing, you're overthinking things. Beheading first, reporting later. That's my prerogative as head of the Jinyiwei. Besides, Lu Hao, the Minister of Revenue, was corrupt, twisted the law, and had no regard for human life. He deserved to die. I'm handling this by the book. I'll present the evidence to my father later." Ning Fan's confidence gave Jinyiwei the creeps. What if this was all part of some elaborate plan? How terrifying would that be? After all, he'd overheard Ning Fan's remarks at Prince Xuanyong's mansion. This guy wasn't an idiot, he was a hidden dragon, playing the fool. How could His Highness have endured so many years, even tolerating slander? How could he be greedy for merit, capable of such a scheme? Why would he do something so stupid? Didn't he realize that killing important officials, even as a prince, meant serious punishment? Whoa, Jinyiwei felt like he was seeing the truth. He quickly bowed to Ning Fan, his respect deeper than ever. He lowered his voice. "Your Highness, His Majesty is waiting. Please, go inside. If you need anything, General, just ask." "Thanks, Commander." Ning Fan didn't refuse Jinyiwei's offer. With a slight nod, he headed toward the palace. Dian Wei stood outside, as still as a statue. Jinyiwei watched him, his eyes narrowing. "That must be the guard assigned to His Highness." "Father, I'm here to see you. I was wondering why you summoned me so late. What can I do for you?" "Humph, you rebellious son. You dare show your face here." Emperor Yu saw Ning Fan and couldn't contain his rage. He slammed his hand on the table. "You have some nerve. Tell me, what did you do tonight?" "Father, calm down." Ning Fan smiled calmly, his tone respectful but not subservient. "I just raided a few corrupt officials. I'm about to submit the paperwork for your review." "You idiot. I told you, don't act rashly. Xianxia was a high-ranking official. You're infuriating." Emperor Yu was livid. He pointed at Ning Fan, grabbed a scroll holder from the table, and was about to throw it. "Father, wait. Please, allow me to explain." Now, Ning Fan wasn't elegant. Instead, he had a playful smile on his face, handing over the report he'd prepared. Emperor Yu took a deep breath, glared at Ning Fan, and put the scroll holder down, signaling to Wei Ying to take the report. "Father, tonight, I investigated a total of 13 officials, including 1 second rank, 2 third rank, 5 fourth rank, and 5 fifth rank officials." "What?" Emperor Yu felt dizzy. The anger he'd just contained surged back. "What? Are you trying to destroy my court? Next, are you going to ransack my palace and behead me?" "I wouldn't dare." "Humph, you're capable of anything." Ning Fan smiled wryly, pointing to the report in Emperor Yu's hand. "Father, please read it first. If you still want to punish me after reading it, then kill me or behead me. Whatever you want." "Okay." Emperor Yu exhaled and opened Ning Fan's report. He scanned it, his pupils shrinking. He looked up at Ning Fan. Is this all true? Yes, father. During the raids, we found over 5.7 million taels of silver, over 460,000 taels of gold, and over 1,700 treasures. I estimate the value at no less than 100 million taels. In other words, you've recovered a year and a half's worth of taxes in one night. Whoa, Emperor Yu stared at the report, his face serious. After a long pause, he finally said, good kill. Father, we're not done yet. This is just the first batch. I also have evidence of crimes committed by 17 other officials in Beijing. Solid evidence. Enough to have their homes searched and them executed. They're just small fish, but they're all loaded. Ning Fan was deadly serious. Even Emperor Yu, hardened as he was, raised his eyebrows. You're so young. Why are you so violent? Father, the only way to set things right is to kill these corrupt officials. It's the only way to set the country straight. Humph, if you kill all the corrupt officials, will the rest suddenly be honest? Emperor Yu slowly put the report on the table, closing his eyes. That's enough. Dayu can't take any more. If I let you kill a few more rounds, you'll destroy the country before any foreign enemies even invade. Turn all the stolen money and gold over to the treasury. We'll discuss it again in court tomorrow. As you wish. Ning Fan bowed respectfully, then took out a secret report from his robes and placed it on Emperor Yu's table. Father, this is a memorial that Lord Lu asked me to present to you before he died. Please, take a look. Emperor Yu frowned, studying Ning Fan. He picked up the report and then slammed it on the table, a hint of murderous intent filling the hall. Father, please don't be angry. This memorial isn't a big deal. It's just about some aristocratic families pulling strings. Eunuch Wei, fetch me a bowl of vinegar. Yes. Wei Ying bowed, and Ning Fan stepped forward, lowering his voice. Father, there's a hidden message in this report. Ning Fan put the memorial down, lit a candle, and held the report over the flame. Small words reappeared on the paper, more than he'd seen at the Jinyiwei headquarters. Please, take a look, Father. Chapter 42, The Policy of Extending Favor, Zhuge Wuhou. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Emperor Yu held the memorial, a cold glint in his eyes, and asked calmly, who else has seen this? Only your son, Your Majesty. Not a word of this gets out. Understood, Father. Emperor Yu sighed. I should have seen this coming. And the Secret Service missed it completely. Lu, he's gone too far, but it's not a capital offense. Ning Fan stood silently as Emperor Yu held the memorial to a candle flame, then dropped the burning paper into a spittoon. The Eastern campaign is almost done. Time for those old geezers to head back to the capital. And you need to watch yourself. Isn't the Jinyiwei supposed to be handling internal affairs and military intelligence? Emperor Yu's gaze fixed on Ning Fan, his face serious. Look into the situation in the southwest. The border's unstable, and it makes me uneasy. Yes, Father. Ning Fan paused, then suggested, Father, maybe test the waters first. See how the King of Huainan reacts. Oh. Emperor Yu seemed intrigued. Got something in mind? What if you offered Huainan some concessions? What concessions are you talking about? The King of Huainan has 3 sons and 2 adopted sons. An imperial edict ordering him to divide his 16 provinces into 5, granting land to each, should cause some chaos. Even allowing them to create their own vassal states, as long as they pay tribute, and allowing their descendants to do the same, will undermine the 16 provinces without a fight. Emperor Yu looked surprised. A policy of appeasement. If it works, it could dismantle the King of Huainan's power in 3 to 5 years. Not quite that simple. Ning Fan shook his head. The King of Huainan is in his prime, and he commands a large army. This policy might take 10 to 15 years to have any real effect. Plus, he's no fool, he might see right through it. Still, if you issue such an edict, he won't just sit around. If he's planning a rebellion, he'll have to show his hand. Emperor Yu nodded. We've suspected his intentions for a while, but I didn't know he was working with the Chen family. Seems like the Chens are going to have to be dealt with. Father, I have another idea. Let's hear it. Summon the king of Huainan's eldest son to the capital. Say it's to arrange a marriage, but really, put him under house arrest. Emperor Yu's eyes flickered, and he considered it. You think the Prince of Huainan will come? Before he's completely ready, the King of Huainan won't dare disobey an order. We'll table that for now. Emperor Yu grew serious, looking intently at Ning Fan. You've taken down half the Ministry of Revenue, and the position of minister is still vacant. Got anyone to recommend? I'm good at taking things down, not building them up. But if you twist my arm, I'll recommend myself. Get out of here, Emperor Yu chuckled, noticing the old eunuch arriving late with a bowl of vinegar. He then said to Ning Fan, it's late. Get some rest in the side hall. Then come with me to court later. Thank you, father. Congratulations, master. Presenting the enfeoffment order earns you 500 merit points. Huh, Ning Fan looked surprised. Another merit reward. With the previous 1,000, he now had 1,500. System, redeem a summon card for a peerless scholar. Congratulations, master, the redemption was successful. Summon now. Summon, instantly, a character profile appeared. Seeing the name, Ning Fan froze. Zhuge Wuhou. The sleeping dragon of the three kingdoms, Ning Fan was ecstatic, quickly pulling up Zhuge Liang's profile, name, Zhuge Liang, loyalty, unwavering, military strength, 61, intelligence, 99, leadership, 92, politics, 103, army, Wu Dang flying army, magic weapon, Zhuge repeating crossbow. Unique skill, 8 formations, special attributes, strategist, when formulating plans, the strategist attribute is triggered, increasing the plan's success rate by 80%. Prime Minister, when appointed Prime Minister, politics attribute +3, craftsman, proficient in unique skills. No way. The real Zhuge Liang wasn't this overpowered, right? Is this the novel version or something? Except for military strength, everything else is maxed out, Ning Fan felt his heart race. He'd grown up reading tales of the three kingdoms in Zhuge Liang, and he nearly worshipped the guy, governing, war, divination, tactics, schemes, engineering, he could do it all. System, where's Zhuge Liang? Master, he's living in seclusion in a thatched hut. Where's the hut? Ning Fan frowned. Was he going to have to go out and personally recruit him? It's in Xuanyong Palace. What? The hut is in the third courtyard of the Xuanyong Palace. When did a thatched hut get put in my palace? Ning Fan was speechless. Had the system remodeled his place without telling him? He closed the system and saw that dawn had broken. 2 young eunuchs were waiting on him. Ning Fan decided against going back to sleep, threw on a robe, and headed for Jingde Hall. Ning Fan saw Dian Wei standing guard like a statue and said quietly, Eli, go get some rest. I'll be back after court. I'll wait outside the palace, my lord. Dian Wei opened his eyes and gave an honest smile, silently hefting his halberd. Ning Fan gave a wry smile, nodded, and strode towards Jingde Hall. It wasn't time for the palace gates to open yet, but many officials had already gathered outside. They all looked shocked to see him. Look, it's the king of Xuanyong. That devil dares show his face. He orchestrated the bloodbath last night. Humph, we'll see if the king of Xuanyong gets away with this today. Ning Fan met their hostile stares and offered a gentle smile. Gentlemen, it's chilly. You should bundle up. Your Highness, you should be worrying about yourself. I wonder if you'll even make it out of the palace alive today. That's right, you don't know when disaster is coming. How pathetic. Ha ha ha. Ning Fan laughed. Gentlemen, you wound me. I'm just here to collect my reward. Oh, and there might be a few empty seats in court today. Make sure you're all in the right spots. But I wanted to congratulate you ahead of time. Some of you might need to move. After all, you can't have all those empty seats at the front, can you? That the officials exchanged uneasy looks. One figure stared at Ning Fan, a cold smile on his face. Chapter 43 Your Majesty, please execute King Xuanyong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Long live the Emperor. Long live, the shout echoed through Zhuge Hall, but Emperor Yu looked weary. He glanced at the empty spaces below and a flicker of annoyance crossed his face. If anyone has business, speak up. If not, court is adjourned. Wei Ying, already primed, bellowed the command. Immediately, civil and military officials surged forward. Your Majesty, I have a proposal. Your Majesty, I wish to impeach King Xuanyong. I have something to report. Your Majesty, a matter requires your attention. Ning Fan watched, a sneer playing on his lips, as over a dozen figures stepped forward, memorials clutched in their hands. Quite the coordinated assault, all aimed at him. Looks like a few executions weren't enough to instill proper fear. Even Emperor Yu, though prepared, was taken aback. A cold glint entered his eyes. Which faction did these people belong to? Esteemed ministers, please proceed. What matters do you wish to bring to my attention? Hu Yu, the imperial censor, wasted no time, stepping forward and declaring, Your Majesty, I accuse Ning Fan, commander of the imperial guards, of indiscriminate slaughter of innocents, maiming loyal subjects, disrespect for the throne, and the massacre of key ministers. Oh! A dangerous glint flashed in Emperor Yu's eyes. Hu Aiqing, do you have evidence? The commander of the embroidered uniform guard holds a high position. False accusations will not be tolerated. Your Majesty, I possess irrefutable proof. Hu Yu turned his gaze to Ning Fan, a smirk twisting his lips. Your Royal Highness King Xuanyong, yesterday you led the royal guards in slaughtering the entire family of Lord Ma Lu Hao, the Minister of Revenue, is that correct? It is. Hu Yu's eyes lit up at Ning Fan's admission. You also ransacked the homes of 12 other important court officials and executed them. True or false? True, I did it. Ning Fan smiled, his face devoid of fear, almost playful. What's your point, Mr. Hu? Humph, Hu Yu scoffed, then boomed, Your Majesty, King Xuanyong has openly admitted to killing key members of the court, acting completely above the law. I beg you to deliver justice for Mr. Lu and the others. Lord Lu was a dedicated servant of the country, tirelessly working for the good of Dayu for over a decade. Yet, he died at the hands of a spoiled brat. Your Majesty, I implore you to execute King Xuanyong and appease the people. I second that motion. I second that motion. The civil and military officials knelt, and Ning Fan broke into laughter. Stepping forward, he said, I wish to inform my father that I intend to impeach Hu Yu, the imperial censor, for making false accusations and framing charges. Here's why. You are outrageously arrogant. Your Majesty, King Xuanyong, you still haven't confessed your crimes. He brutally murdered loyal officials, killed over 10 important court members, and implicated thousands. Such crimes are unprecedented in the history of our nation. Your Majesty, please order the severe punishment of the criminal Ning Fan, in accordance with the law. Hu Yu shouted again. Emperor Yu's face was a mask of amusement as his eyes focused on Ning Fan. King Xuanyong, how do you explain the crimes Hu Aiqing has laid out for you? Father, I am not guilty. Hu Aiqing accuses you of torturing loyal officials and slaughtering innocents. What defense do you offer? The bodies of Master Lu and his colleagues are barely cold, the evidence is stacked high, and yet His Highness still tries to excuse his actions. Ning Fan scanned the ministers. Almost all of them, save for Lin Yong and a few others, had jumped into the fray. He licked his lips. The courtiers saw the smile on his face, and, though it seemed like a warm spring breeze, it sent a chill down their spines. They felt like prey stared down by a predator, and instinctively recoiled. "Father, by your grace, I was appointed commander of the embroidered uniform guard, tasked with investigating and punishing corrupt officials, reforming the court, and ensuring peace and stability for the people. But a group of officials, led by Lu Hao, the Minister of Revenue, were accepting bribes and disregarding human life. They had no respect for the law. Therefore, in accordance with the laws of Dayu, I seized their assets and ordered their execution. Since receiving the order, I've worked tirelessly, day and night, diligently fulfilling my duties, fighting treacherous ministers, using my wits and courage, risking my life to gather evidence, and devoting myself to serving the court. Yet now, I stand accused by you all. I have been wronged, Father, I beg your understanding." "Nonsense." Hu Yu's face was livid. He stared at Ning Fan, a sneer curling his lips. "I've long heard of His Highness's ignorance and incompetence, and now it seems those rumors were true. According to our court's laws, even if a high-ranking official of the third rank or higher violates the law, they must be handed over to the Ministry of Justice for trial and reported to Your Majesty before any action is taken. Your Highness is merely the commander of the royal guards. What right do you have to raid the home of a second-rank official of the imperial court? Indeed. The Minister of Revenue is an important official, and while the embroidered uniform guard can patrol and make arrests, you dare to kill key officials without permission. Enough. The evidence is overwhelming. Your Highness should submit to the law and beg for Your Majesty's forgiveness." The faces of all the ministers were etched with ridicule. Now that things had reached this point, no amount of quibbling would help. Even if His Majesty wanted to protect him, he wouldn't dare risk the contempt of the world by condoning such actions. Ha ha ha. Ning Fan threw back his head and laughed. Slowly, he withdrew a golden scroll from his sleeve. "Father's decree. I am granted the position of commander of the embroidered uniform guard, responsible for patrols and arrests, guarding the imperial procession, gathering external intelligence, conducting investigations, and given the authority to establish a private court, empowered by the emperor. Regardless of official rank or title, if anyone violates the national law, they are to be executed first, then reported. The emperor's order is here, and was distributed to all government offices the day before yesterday. Meaning, Lu Hao is only a second-rank minister of the Ministry of Revenue, but even if he were a member of the imperial family, so long as he broke the law, I have the right to kill him first and report later. Do you understand, gentlemen?" "What?" Hu Yu's face was a mask of disbelief. His hands trembling, he took the imperial order from Ning Fan. After a single glance, his body shook violently and he nearly fainted. "This, the Emperor's special permission, kill first, then report. There's never been a precedent for this in our dynasty. Your Majesty, is this true?" Emperor Yu, seated at the top, his eyes gleaming with amusement, said casually, "What King Xuanyong says is true. The embroidered uniform guard has been given special imperial power and the right to kill first, then report. King Xuanyong holds the gold medal bestowed upon him by me, representing my will." After Emperor Yu finished speaking, the officials kneeling in the court nearly fainted. Could things really be played like this? "Your Majesty, this is unfair. Lord Lu was devoted to the country. He worked tirelessly for years, always loyal to the court and Your Majesty. King Xuanyong must be abusing his power for personal gain. Please, Your Majesty, I beg you to investigate. Your Majesty, Lord Hu is right. The embroidered uniform guard raided the homes of over 10 ministers overnight. How can such a violent person act on behalf of heaven? Please revoke your order and strip the embroidered uniform guard of their privileges." This system is a violation of all principles of etiquette and law. It has no precedent in our dynasty. I implore you to revoke your order. Chapter 44, The Ministers Are Shocked, Emperor Yu Plots. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Emperor Yu, perched on his dragon throne, smirked as he surveyed the simmering resentment on the faces of the assembled officials. We'll table the withdrawal of that order for now, he announced. King Xuanyong, why don't you bring everyone up to speed on last night's operation? As you wish, Your Majesty. Ning Fan mentally bookmarked the individuals before him, a playful glint in his eyes. Last night, he began, his voice soft but carrying, I raided the mansions of 13 corrupt officials. Care to guess how much gold and silver we recovered? A murmur rippled through the hall, even Lin Yong, standing nearby, couldn't suppress a slight frown of curiosity. Humph, is His Highness angling for praise? Someone scoffed. You bet I am, Ning Fan shot back, a hint of steel in his voice. And it's well deserved. Last night, we seized over 5.7 million taels of silver, more than 460,000 taels of gold, and upwards of 1,700 precious artifacts from those 13 residences. Impossible. 5,700,000 taels of silver. 460,000 taels of gold. That's almost 5 million taels of silver in gold alone, plus 1,000 priceless treasures. We're talking tens of millions. Outrageous. Ning Fan's announcement ignited a firestorm of disbelief and protest. The detailed ledgers from every jurisdiction are currently at my Jinyiwei headquarters, Ning Fan countered, his voice rising above the din. And the recovered gold, silver, and artifacts are piled high outside the gates. If any of you lords doubt my word, or believe I've unjustly accused these dog officials, feel free to inspect them yourselves. He paused, letting his words sink in. And let me be clear, he continued, his gaze sweeping the room, there are plenty of you sitting right here who aren't exactly lily white. I already have incriminating evidence in my possession. Only my father's mercy prevented a significant number of you from being conspicuously absent this morning. Consider yourselves warned. Ning Fan stepped back, leaving a roomful of officials with faces rapidly turning green. Hu Yu, in particular, looked shell-shocked. Impossible, he stammered. Dayu's entire tax revenue last year was only 7 million taels. How can this be? Lord Lu of the Ministry of Revenue is known for his unimpeachable integrity. Someone else muttered. Some of the officials stared at Ning Fan with undisguised fear, avoiding his gaze. Emperor Yu watched the spectacle with a sardonic smile. He fixed his gaze on Hu Yu, his voice dangerously calm. Lord Hu, tell me, what should be done with these corrupt officials? They deserve to die. Hu Yu stammered, defeated. The officials who had moments ago been so vocal now hung their heads in silence, shamefaced. Ha! Emperor Yu's laughter echoed through the hall. The wealth amassed by a mere 13 corrupt officials exceeds Dayu's entire annual tax revenue. Last year, when the Yangtze River flooded, you squabbled over a paltry 300,000 taels for disaster relief. He thundered. If I had known I could replenish Dayu's treasury by simply confiscating a few mansions, I wouldn't have hesitated to chop off their heads yesterday. And you? He roared, his gaze sweeping over the assembled courtiers. You all stand here, claiming to be paragons of virtue. Who among you dares to swear, hand on heart, that they're squeaky clean? Many officials lowered their heads, overcome with shame, while others shot resentful glances at Ning Fan. Go back and reflect on your actions, Emperor Yu continued, his voice slightly softer now. Consider whether this path is truly worth pursuing to the end. Clean up your messes and start anew. I'll give you this one chance. After you return, send anything that doesn't rightfully belong to you to the Jinyiwei headquarters. The officials remained silent, torn between defiance and desperation. King Xuanyong, Emperor Yu declared, for your investigation and prosecution of these corrupt officials, for cleansing the court, I bestow upon you 1,000 taels of gold, 1,000 bolts of fine silk, and 500 acres of fertile land. Thank you, Father, congratulations, Master, for cleaning up corrupt officials and gaining 500 merit points, the system notification pinged in Ning Fan's mind, and his eyes flashed with excitement. It seemed accumulating merit points wasn't as difficult as he'd initially thought. With the 500 he already had, he could summon another peerless civil official or general. Your Majesty, Lin Yong interjected smoothly, the position of Minister of Revenue is of paramount importance. Now that Wuhou has been executed, it is imperative to fill the vacancy promptly. He subtly glanced at Ning Fan, as if trying to gauge his reaction, but Ning Fan's expression remained impassive. Emperor Yu murmured, nodding thoughtfully. His gaze shifted from Lin Yong to Ning Fan. King Xuanyong, you've demonstrated remarkable insight and knowledge of the court officials during this investigation. Do you have any recommendations for the position? The question sent a ripple of excitement and apprehension through the court. The Minister of Revenue controlled the empire's finances, a position of immense power and influence, the pinnacle of any official's career. Was Emperor Yu considering entrusting this role to King Xuanyong? Was he preparing to elevate him above the other princes? Reporting to the emperor, Ning Fan replied carefully, my experience in politics is limited, and I would not presume to offer a rash recommendation. I defer to your wisdom and judgment. Very well, we shall table this discussion for now, Emperor Yu said, betraying no surprise at Ning Fan's response. He immediately shifted the conversation. My dear ministers, Prime Minister Lin and I were reminiscing yesterday, and the name of the King of Huainan arose, prompting a deep sigh from me. Over the years, the King of Huainan has valiantly defended Dayu's southwestern border, rendering invaluable service. I am most pleased and wish to reward him handsomely with the right to grant titles within his domain. Emperor Yu's sudden mention of the King of Huainan, a powerful vassal in the southwest, perplexed the court officials, particularly Lin Yong, who appeared visibly stunned. Yesterday. I never even met with your Majesty. How can you say we talked about this? Are you setting me up again, ? Your Majesty, one of the officials ventured, the King of Huainan already governs 16 provinces. How do you propose to divide them? He. Emperor Yu chuckled. The King of Huainan has achieved great success and already earned the best rewards. We will divide his domains among his descendants. I intend to grant titles to his 5 most promising heirs, bestowing upon them the title of Marquis. Upon reaching the age of 16, each Marquis will receive a fiefdom, governing a portion of the 16 provinces and possessing the authority to establish their own administrations. What? The announcement sent a shockwave through the hall. Even Lin Yong's eyes widened in astonishment. Dividing the 16 provinces. Your Majesty's move is blatant. What are your thoughts, my dear ministers? Your Majesty, is this great favor excessive? The King of Huainan is the pillar of our empire, and all of this is as it should be. Your Majesty's generosity knows no bounds. I concur fully. I have no objections, seeing that several key ministers offered no resistance, and amidst the complicated expressions of the other officials, Emperor Yu made his decision. His gaze turned to a middle-aged man with a ramrod-straight posture. Minister Zhao, this matter shall be entrusted to the Ministry of Rights. I obey your order, Your Majesty. Zhao Rui, the Minister of Rights, responded respectfully. Emperor Yu beamed, an unusually relaxed expression on his face. The many vacancies in the court truly needed to be filled as soon as possible. Court dismissed. With a wave of his hand, Emperor Yu adjourned the session. Ning Fan could hardly contain his excitement as he hurried toward his mansion. He was eager to meet the legendary Mr. Wulong, the strategist who knew the world in 3 parts before even leaving his thatched hut. Would this recluse, hidden away in his humble dwelling, reveal the extent of his extraordinary talents? Chapter 45 Emperor Yu's deep meaning, in the thatched cottage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanyong Palace. Backyard, tucked away in a corner, a peaceful thatched cottage stands surrounded by lush greenery. Moss carpets the steps in vibrant green, echoing the verdant curtains of grass. A scene straight out of a storybook. A handsome young man, simply dressed, sat absorbed in a book in the courtyard. "Sir," a gentle voice broke his concentration. He looked up to see three figures standing in the courtyard, smiling at him. "Kong Ming greets the Lord. I was unaware of your arrival and failed to greet you properly. Please forgive me, my lord." Zhuge quickly rose to his feet upon seeing Ning Fan. His gaze flickered to the two figures behind Ning Fan, and his expression faltered momentarily. "Come, sit down and let's talk." Ning Fan walked over to a stone table in front of the cottage and sat down on a stone stool. He looked at Zhuge with a smile, saying softly, "I've long wanted to meet you, sir, but I didn't expect it to be today." "You're too kind, my lord. I was down on my luck, and I'm fortunate that you took me in and gave me a place to stay. You must be tired today. Are you coming from court?" "That's right. I've heard about what happened last night." "Be careful, you need to be on guard." "What do you mean?" Ning Fan's eyes gleamed with curiosity. Zhuge explained slowly, "Now you're in charge of the Jinyiwei, holding the power of life and death. Last night's confiscations and executions of corrupt officials weakened their influence. Those aristocratic families will undoubtedly see you as a thorn in their side. Unable to attack you directly, they might resort to underhanded tactics. Do you think they'd dare to attack me? A cornered dog will bite. Don't underestimate them." Xiuzhao added solemnly. "All right, I understand. Kong Ming, why do you think my father brought up the Minister of Revenue position in court today?" Xiuzhao remained silent, his eyes sparkling with shrewdness. The old fox always preferred a passive approach, avoiding conflict or unnecessary chatter. Besides, the simply dressed young man before him was anything but simple. Seeing his silence, Zhuge pondered and then said, "Your Majesty likely has two intentions." "You've eliminated many corrupt officials, earning the court's gratitude, but also offending many civil and military officials. His Majesty wants to compensate you. By letting you nominate a candidate for Minister of Revenue, the other officials might assume you're aiming for the position yourself. That way, you become their target, diverting their attention from His Majesty." As Zhuge finished, a realization dawned on Ning Fan's face. "So, my father is trying to use me as a shield. But I don't have any power in court. What's the point of asking me to nominate someone?" "Ah, that's the second reason," Zhuge said with a smile. "You're new to government and relatively isolated in court. To gain a foothold, you need allies. His Majesty is willing to support you. As I understand it, the fourth prince and Prince Sheng each have supporters in court, and the other princes also have close confidants. By having you nominate candidates, His Majesty is signaling to the court that you have a say in who becomes the Minister of Revenue." Hearing Zhuge explanation, Ning Fan couldn't help but grimace. No wonder his political acumen was only a 62 out of 100. Dealing with these wily old officials, plus a father who was willing to sacrifice his own son, meant he might end up being taken advantage of. "So, my Xuanyong Palace is about to be swarming with visitors." Ning Fan's face lit up. "Sir, are you interested in joining the government?" "I'm just a commoner. Even if you recommend me for the Minister of Revenue position, His Majesty and the court officials would never agree. It would be better to choose an official with a clean record, upright character, and a dedication to the people, and cultivate your own power base within the court." "He's right." Xiuzhao chimed in, "If you can win over the Minister of Revenue, you'll gain a strong ally. With the Jinyiwei at your disposal, no one in the court will dare to look down on you." Listening to their advice, Ning Fan nodded thoughtfully. They made sense. Though Zhuge and Xiuzhao were loyal, they were still commoners. Promoting them to such high positions would be a challenge. In that case, I'll have the Jinyiwei look into any officials with a good reputation. Ning Fan's eyes narrowed in contemplation. He lacked governmental knowledge and didn't have many real friends in the capital, so he would have to rely on the Jinyiwei. Just then, Lin Yong hurried over and whispered, "Second Master, Princess Xiangning is here to see you." "Oh. Why isn't she leading her troops in the barracks? What's she doing here?" Ning Fan frowned, then said to Lin Yong, "Have her wait in the living room. I'll change and go see her." "Yes. Wenhe, you and Kongming share a background, so get to know each other better." With that, Ning Fan stood and headed towards the main courtyard, leaving both Jia Su and Zhuge Liang confused. Share a background, they exchanged a puzzled look, a hint of suspicion in their eyes, and watched Ning Fan's retreating figure. Reception room. Ning Fan, now dressed in a fresh set of clothes, strode in and saw a beautiful woman sitting in the hall. He greeted her, "Princess, I've kept you waiting." "Your Highness. It's not often I get a visit from the princess." "Oh." Li Xiaoning smiled. "It's my pleasure." "Well, what brings you to my house today?" Li Xiaoning glared at Ning Fan with mock resentment. "You disappeared into the military and became a hands-off commander. I returned to Beijing today and found you've caused quite a stir. Now the whole capital praises you as a dedicated public servant. Overnight, a playboy turned into a hero. Some people are even worshipping you at home and lighting incense every day." Chapter 46, Military Farming System, Planning to Build a Pig Farm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Li Xiaoning, Ning Fan was surprised. So, even a villain could become a hero just by doing one good deed. He knew he had a reputation in Beijing for being a troublemaker. But who knew that just by taking out a bunch of corrupt officials, he'd become a popular figure, even a hero? It was almost embarrassing. "I appreciate the praise, but being worshipped with incense is a bit much." Ning Fan chuckled, and Li Xiaoning teased, "I heard the ladies at the local brothels are singing your praises. Word is, you can have any girl you want, on the house." "Ahem. Princess, you can't believe everything you hear. I'm a respectable guy, I've never even been to such a place. It's just idle gossip. Pay no mind." "Oh, really?" Seeing the glint in Li Xiaoning's eye, Ning Fan quickly changed the subject. "How's the training going? Now that you're in charge, I'm personally overseeing the Qilin camp. We'll crush the competition in 3 months. With you leading the charge, I have no doubt. But how's the effect?" "That's actually what I wanted to talk to you about." "What's up?" "The soldiers have been training hard, and their morale is high. But they only get 2 light meals a day. They're burning through energy." Li Xiaoning looked concerned. "It's fine for a few days, but if it goes on, their bodies will give out." Ning Fan frowned. He knew this was a real problem. People didn't get 3 meals a day like in his past life. In this world, only royalty got 4 meals, officials got 3, and regular folks and soldiers got 2. Some poor people didn't even get 1. "I'll figure it out. We can't disrupt the training. We need to make sure these guys are well fed, even overfed. Maybe we should talk to the emperor. No need to bother father with this." Ning Fan paused, then said to Lin Yong, "Lin, take that 1,000 taels of gold I just got and buy some young pigs." "Pigs?" Lin Yong was confused. "Why pigs? We have cattle, sheep, chickens. Just do it." "Yes, sir." Seeing his master's serious face, Lin Yong didn't argue. He asked, "All of it on pigs?" "Yep, all young pigs. Breeding stock if possible." "As you wish." Lin Yong hurried off. Li Xiaoning was puzzled. Ning Fan explained quietly, "From now on, the troops train in the morning, and farm in the afternoon." "Farm?" Li Xiaoning was surprised. "Why?" "Self-sufficiency. Ning Fan chuckled. Right now, every soldier in Dayu gets 2 meals a day, even on the frontier. If we ask father to give extra rations to the Jiangyi troops, the border troops would be furious. And we can't afford 3 meals a day for the entire army. Not yet. So, if we want to keep training and keep the soldiers fed, we have to do it ourselves. Ning Fan spoke calmly, and Li Xiaoning agreed. It made sense, the soldiers on the border were risking their lives on 2 meals a day. If the Jiangyi troops got 3, there'd be trouble. It's not about what you have, it's about what someone else has. But won't it take forever for them to grow their own food? We'll borrow food from the court in the name of the Western camp. Borrow? Yup, Ning Fan grinned. I've got 100,000 soldiers in the capital. Even if they only farm a little each day, they can earn enough to fill their stomachs by selling it. Father won't refuse. That way, the soldiers can make their own extra meals, and the border troops can't complain. Li Xiaoning's face showed her approval, then she asked, but why buy pigs? Pigs are cheap and only poor people eat them. I know how to get rid of the gamey taste and make it more delicious than beef or lamb. So, I'm going to build a pig farm, Ning Fan grinned. In this era, people didn't realize that castrated pigs were more palatable. And the upper classes looked down on pigs as dirty. But beef was expensive, and most people couldn't afford it. Ning Fan planned to corner the pig market and bring down meat prices so everyone could eat meat more often. System alert, new mission, build a pig farm, time limit, 7 days, requirements, pig farm must have at least 1,000 pigs, rewards, 1,000 potatoes, 1,000 sweet potatoes, curved plow blueprint. Whoa, hearing the system, Ning Fan nearly jumped out of his skin. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. This was a game changer. These things were worth more than any official. Seeing Ning Fan's sudden excitement, Li Xiaoning was confused. What's wrong? Ning Fan couldn't hide his grin. Nothing, just a funny thought. Get back to the camp and have someone survey the land near the west camp. I'm going to see father and ask the Ministry of Works for farm tools. Starting tomorrow, we're all farming. Chapter 47 Assassinating King Xuanyong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen family residence. Inside a secret chamber, a group of figures had gathered. The leader, a middle-aged man in traditional Chinese robes, looked grim. The whole atmosphere in the room was heavy with tension. Third Master. Someone said. We're in deep trouble this time. Humph. Mr. Chen scoffed, his eyes flashing with a deadly intent. Whether it was Xuanyong or Xing back then, no one's going to stand in our way. Now Xuanyong's willing to be the emperor's puppet. Since His Majesty's turning a blind eye, don't blame us for playing hardball. When you get back, cover your tracks, silence anyone who needs silencing, and bury anything that needs burying. We can't let that psycho get a lead on us. Everyone nodded in agreement. A figure in a black hat said in a low voice, Third Master, with the Jinyiwei under such intense scrutiny, there's no way Xuanyong will see eye to eye with us. Maybe it's time we... He made a cutting motion with his hand, a glint came into Chen Rui's eyes. After thinking for a long moment, he hardened his expression and said seriously, in that case, I'll send word back to the family and have my second brother send a few hitmen. Since the kid doesn't know what's good for him, he's got another thing coming. His Majesty seems pretty high on this guy right now. Well, I'll just take him down a peg. I wonder if that'll give His Majesty a rude awakening. Everyone saw the murderous rage on Mr. Chen's face and remained silent. Everyone, be careful on your way back. Yes, everyone got up and left, except for an old man in black robes. He watched them leave the hall, slowly lifted the hat from his head, and turned to Mr. Chen. Third Master, I've got some guys in my back pocket, real pros with all kinds of martial arts. How about we let them handle it? Are they trustworthy? Absolutely. Good. A coldness crept into Chen Rui's eyes as he said calmly, in that case, I'll leave this to you. I want Ning Fan's head decorating the gates of Prince Xuanyong's mansion by tomorrow morning. Consider it done. The palace, the emperor's study. Emperor Yu was reviewing documents when a figure in black appeared silently before him and bowed respectfully. Jiannan reporting, Your Majesty. Did you find anything? Yes, Your Majesty. Our intelligence found a clue with the Qin family. Over the years, they've been secretly shipping iron ore and warhorses to the king of Huainan. However, most of our people over there have been compromised. That king of Huainan, a chilling light flickered in Emperor Yu's eyes. A wave of killing intent rolled off him. Over the years, the imperial court had bent over backward to appease the 16 prefectures of Huainan, all in the name of stability, yet, they hadn't earned so much as a thank you. Instead, it only fueled Huainan's ambition. So, the king of Huainan's planning a full-blown rebellion? Your Majesty. An uneasy look crossed Jiannan's face. The king of Huainan has been working the 16 states for years. He has that territory locked up tight. It's almost impossible for us to get in there. We've lost over 100 agents in Huainan over the past few years. We're just throwing good money after bad. If we want the real dirt on Huainan, I'm afraid our secret guard is. Emperor Yu's face darkened. The imperial court had never stopped trying to infiltrate Huainan, but the king of Huainan was no fool. He was always on guard against the court. The Ministry of Rights is planning to send envoys to Huainan in the next few days. Slip a few people in with them. We need the real story on the king of Huainan. I want to know how much power he's amassed during these years of hiding in the weeds. Understood. Jiannan bowed respectfully, though some hesitation remained. Emperor Yu said calmly, if you have anything else to say, speak your mind. Your Majesty, about the Jinyiwei. Emperor Yu's face turned hard at the mention of the Jinyiwei. What's the problem with the Jinyiwei? Reporting, Your Majesty, the imperial guards under the second prince are all highly skilled, their aura is intense. They're like battle-hardened vets. A few days ago, they seemed to converge on the capital overnight, and none of my people even saw it coming. Oh, surprise flickered across Emperor Yu's face. The capital was the secret guard's territory. If they couldn't penetrate Huainan, that was one thing. But for this group to gather in the capital without anyone noticing was a bit concerning. Who are they? Reporting, Your Majesty, my men have checked them out, and they all have clean records. Some are farmers, others are merchants, commoners. They're all nobodies, but judging by their skills, they're definitely not average Joes. I can't figure out how His Highness found these people. Emperor Yu's eyes narrowed as Jiannan finished speaking. That's enough about that. Drop it, don't dig any deeper. Understood. Having said what he needed to say, Jiannan didn't dare overstep and quietly retreated. Emperor Yu toyed with 2 iron walnuts in his hands, and pondered for a long time before saying softly, Wei Ying, arrange for me to visit the Yaohua Palace. Xianyong Palace. Ning Fan held the small wooden tag his mother had given him. Lost in thought, Blood Phoenix used to be the military intelligence agency of the Great Zhou Dynasty. The Great Zhou Dynasty had a history stretching back over 200 years. It had deep roots. If it hadn't been for the successive natural disasters and the political turmoil, Dayu wouldn't have destroyed Zhou so easily. Yi Yu. What a character. The face of a stern-looking young man flashed through Ning Fan's mind. He'd been around a lot when Ning Fan was a kid, even taught him martial arts for a while. Then, he just disappeared. Ning Fan thought he remembered getting a letter from Yi Yu a few years back. Right now, my biggest trump card isn't the Jinyiwei, it's the underworld. With Xuanzhu in charge, plus the help of the Tianyuan pill, the underworld's become a force to be reckoned with. And Shenwansan's business empire is slowly taking shape. Ning Fan's face showed a hint of contemplation. He now controlled the Jinyiwei. In the capital, he was a force to be reckoned with. But if he shook things up too much looking for the Zhou dynasty's remains, would he raise his father's suspicions? Still, he didn't want to pass up the chance to find the dragon cave. Back then, the bronze swordsmen of the great Zhou dynasty had been a force on the battlefield. Unfortunately, in its final years, the great Zhou dynasty had suffered one natural disaster after another, plagued by internal and external troubles, and eventually become part of Dayu's territory. Second Master, the pigs here. Chapter 48. Lin Yong brought the news and prepared the wine shop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A sharp call cut through the air, and Lin Yong burst in, practically buzzing with excitement. He spotted Ning Fan and gave a deep, respectful bow. Boss, the pigs are here. Over 10,000. I had guys buy up every single piglet in the whole damn city. I spent all the gold. Lin Yong leaned in, his face flushed with excitement, and whispered, and get this, I found a salt mine, out on some scrubland east of town. No way. Ning Fan was taken aback by the news of 10,000 piglets, but the salt mine really perked him up. The guys at the manor had already built a bunch of stills, and they had all the salt refining equipment ready to go, all they needed was the damn salt mine. Where are they now? Your Highness, they're all waiting outside the city. Tell someone to get Xuanyong over here, ASAP. Right away. Ning Fan's eyes gleamed. Looks like dominating Dayu's economy starts with revolutionizing the food supply. Before long, a middle-aged guy with a beer belly and a face that screamed loaded waddled in. Damn, Fatty Shen, haven't seen you in days. You look like you've lost a ton of weight. Heh heh. Xuanyong gave a charming grin. Your Highness, I've been buried these past few days. Barely even had time to pee. Lost maybe 7-8 pounds since I last saw you. Spill it. What's been keeping you so busy? Your Highness, I've been setting up a liquor store. I've converted a few shops into wine cellars. I even built a huge new cellar outside of town. Cost me 5,000 taels of silver. After giving Ning Fan the update, Xuanyong asked, Your Highness, I heard you've been buying up piglets like crazy in the city. What's the big idea? I'm planning to build a pig farm. A pig farm? Xuanyong looked totally shocked. Pigs were filthy, low-class animals. Why would a big shot like His Highness want to build a pig farm? If word got out, the whole court would be mortified. Your Highness, please reconsider. You're too important for this. It'll wreck your reputation if people find out. I'm not worried about my reputation. And you're not doing it yourself. I called you here because I want you to send some workers to build a pig farm outside West Camp. Lin Yong found a salt mine east of the city. Go check it out and see if you can buy that land. Yes, sir. Xuanyong wore a face like he'd just swallowed a lemon. Your Highness, the winery has finished brewing 3 different kinds of wine. In about 2 weeks, we can open all 5 locations at once. I brought some samples. I'd be honored if you'd give them a taste, Your Highness. Alright. Ning Fan watched Xuanyong pull out 3 small bottles of wine. He picked up the first one and took a sip. Back in his old life, he'd been a serious drinker. He wasn't exactly a wine snob, but he knew what he liked. He could appreciate a bottle of top-shelf stuff, but he was just as happy with the cheap stuff. The wine in this jade bottle was pretty weak, only about 30 proof. Not bad. It's pretty weak, but it's probably considered strong liquor around here. Hearing Ning Fan's review, Xuanyong smiled nervously. Your Highness, this one is the weakest of the 3 and has a slight hint of sweetness. It doesn't cost much to make, only 3 or 4 cents per bottle. Okay. Ning Fan nodded. Does it have a name? A name? Yeah. Ning Fan looked at Xuanyong. A great product needs more than just quality. It needs marketing, packaging. Ning Fan ran through all the marketing tricks he'd learned in his previous life. Xuanyong's eyes lit up. He was blown away by Ning Fan's business sense. Your Highness, you're right. The name is the brand. If I may be so bold, I would love for you to name these 3 wines. Huh. Ning Fan chuckled. It's not just about the name. You need to think about your target audience. Target audience? Exactly. Ning Fan nodded. Who are you trying to sell the wine to? Rich officials or regular folks? You need to market differently to each group. This wine is cheap to make, so it has to be priced lower than the other 2. I think you should market it to the common people. The street vendors, the farmers, anyone should be able to afford it. Let's call it Fuguichan, which means, prosperity for everyone. Price it at 50 cents a bucket. Ning Fan picked up the second bottle and popped the cork. This wine smelled stronger and tasted clean and crisp, with a lasting aftertaste. This was good stuff. This one's better. About 42 proof. 42 proof. Xuanyong looked confused. Ning Fan smiled but didn't explain. He took another sip. Let's call this one Xianxia. Market it to the gangsters. Hire some storytellers to make up some tales. When the store opens, you can pay those storytellers to hype it up beforehand. A little silver will get you a lot of buzz. Xuanyong was practically glowing as he listened, nodding like a student taking notes. Xianxia should cost more than Fuguichan. Don't sell it in bulk, sell it in jugs. A small one is 1 liter, a large one is 5 liters. Price it at 10 taels. 10 taels for a jug. Xuanyong was shocked. The Xianxia only cost about 100 coins per jug to make, and 1 tael of silver was 1,000 coins. The profit margin was insane. Gimme the 3rd bottle. Of course, Your Highness. Xuanyong opened the bottle himself, and Ning Fan took a sip. His eyes widened. If the first 2 wines were cheap liquor, this one was top shelf. How much does this one cost to make? Your Highness, it's 900 coins a bucket. Ning Fan was floored. He had just learned that a pig only costs 300 to 500 coins. This bottle was about half a liter, which meant it cost 45 coins to make, way more than he'd expected. Back in Wuhou City, a bucket of rice only cost 7 or 8 coins. Okay, don't sell this one in bulk. Brew a lot of it and let it age. We'll release it after the other 2 wines are established. What do you mean, Your Highness? I'm going to call this one Yuqiangjiang, Jade Nectar. When you get back, have someone make a fancy porcelain bottle, engraved with designs, something that looks as elegant as this nectar. Put the jade nectar in this jade bottle, and sell each bottle for 10 taels of gold. 10 taels of gold. Chapter 49, Danger in the East, Hong Xiuzhao's Plot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10 taels of gold. Xuanyong's eyes nearly bugged out of his head. He couldn't believe it. A small bottle of wine that cost 40 or 50 coins was going to be sold for 10 taels of gold. Was he seriously trying to pass it off as liquid gold? Seeing Xuanyong's shock, Ning Fan smiled confidently. Wuhou City is crawling with the rich and powerful. Selling it for 10 taels of gold. That's nothing. We could get 100. But this isn't even our best stuff. Once I get back, I'm diving deep into that ancient winemaking technology book. We're developing new wines, period. And the shop needs a name that'll really grab people's attention. Xuanyong listened intently, nodding with awe. Alright, if that's all, you can head out. Don't slack on that pig farm. It needs to be finished in 3 days. If you're short on hands, hit up King Xuanyong with the army. He can spare some soldiers to help you. Thank you, Your Highness. Xuanyong bowed slightly and took his leave. Ning Fan settled onto a soft cushion in the guest room for a bit, then headed to the Jinyiwei Yamen with Dian Wei. Your Highness. Right. Is Zhang in the office? Reporting to Your Highness, Sir Jiang is out investigating a case. Oh, Ning Fan looked surprised. What kind of case? That. I'm not sure. Just as Ning Fan was about to head inside, he saw Jiang galloping down the street on a tall horse. Spotting Ning Fan, he quickly dismounted, looking respectful. Your Highness. Let's talk inside. Ning Fan led the way into the office, Jiang close behind. They went to the main hall and sat down. Jiang, what case were you looking into? Reporting to Your Highness, I received a solid lead that Xiuzhao is actually a stronghold for Donghuai State. I just sent men to investigate. Huh, the name Xiuzhao made Ning Fan's face tighten. He said quietly, Xiuzhao is a Donghuai intelligence base, but it's a trap my father set. Don't make any rash moves. We don't want to mess up his plan. Yes, sir. Jiang looked serious. Your Highness, we received intel that the war in the East Territory may have taken an unexpected turn. Really? Ning Fan's eyes sharpened. Do we have someone inside the Donghuai army? We do. Jiang pulled a secret letter from his robes, handed it to Ning Fan, and whispered, from what I gather, Xiuzhao has known they were being watched for a while. Comparing it to Donghuai's frontline strategy, it all adds up. Meaning Xiuzhao is bait. They're deliberately showing weaknesses to draw our attention, throw the court off balance, and lure our army into a trap. That's impossible. Ning Fan looked thoughtful. If that were true, the war in the East Territory was in real trouble. His father knew Xiuzhao was a Donghuai base, but he was playing it cool, not moving against them. He was obviously planning to use them. But what Jiang was saying made things a lot more complicated. If Xiuzhao was deliberately sacrificing a stronghold, revealing flaws, and even predicting the court's reaction, if they were playing a game within a game. Crap. Ning Fan's face changed after reading the letter. He said sternly, we used the red sleeves to feed them false intel, making Donghuai think our main force is heading straight into our trap. But if Donghuai knows that intel is bogus, they'll assume our main force has left the city, meaning Huaining City is practically empty. Our risky plan to end the eastern conflict in one move will backfire horribly if Donghuai is already anticipating our moves. If we lose Huaining City, our main force will be caught in a crossfire. Jiang, notify our people. Get this information to the Duke of Jinyiwei at all costs. Yes, sir. Jiang, understanding the gravity of the situation, hurried out. Ning Fan stared at the letter, feeling uneasy. Dayu was already walking on thin ice, with the king of Huainan eyeing them hungrily from the southwest. The nobles in the court were restless, and the western territory was never stable. If the eastern territory fell apart, Dayu would be in serious danger. Alai, get the horses ready. I need to go to the palace. Inside the palace, the imperial garden. Emperor Yu was enjoying a rare moment of peace. The Eastern Territory battle was almost over. After this, they wouldn't have to worry about foreign invasions for at least 3 years. Dayu might even be able to shake them down for some cash. Once the Eastern Territory was stable and the army came home, he could finally deal with those festering sores in the court. Father, I want to leave the palace for a while, please. Please, pretty please. It's been months since I've seen my second brother. I'm just going to his place to hang out for half a day. Alright, alright. A girl of 14 or 15 took Emperor Yu's arm and batted her eyelashes. Don't think you can fool me by pretending you're going to Xuanyong Palace. I still haven't forgotten that you snuck out disguised as a man a few days ago to go to a brothel. I still need to punish you for that. If people find out, who's going to want to marry you? Ning Yao pouted and stuck out her tongue. Okay, I know I messed up. You're old enough to be thinking about marriage. You can't be acting like a kid anymore. Pfft. Second brother hasn't gotten married yet. I'm still young, no rush. Seeing Ning Yao use Ning Fan as a shield, Emperor Yu chuckled. Your second brother's been surprisingly busy lately. It's rare he actually does something useful to take some of the weight off my shoulders. Oh. Tell me, father, what earth-shattering thing did he do this time? Which girl's heart did he break? As soon as Ning Yao finished, an annoyed voice called out, Ning Yao, are you talking about me again? Second brother. Ning Yao jumped, looking guilty. What are you doing here? Emperor Yu was surprised too. This kid only came to the palace when he needed something. What trouble had he gotten into now? Reporting to my father. What brought you here? Father, we're in a crisis, and it affects the future of the country. Ning Fan looked serious, then turned to Ning Yao. Go have some fun, will you? I need to talk business with father. Ugh, since when do you do business? Ning Yao just rolled her eyes. Seeing their serious faces, she quietly stepped aside. Chapter 50 Jinyiwei dispatched, Ning Fan's plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After they sat down, Ning Fan cut right to the chase. Dad, did you use the red sleeves to spread that misinformation? Emperor Yu nodded, a smile playing on his lips. Yep. I knew you were sharp. That's exactly why I kept you away from the red sleeves operation. Seeing his father's grin, Ning Fan's expression turned serious. So, you deliberately used the red sleeves to leak our army's food supply route, created some fake panic to make Donghuai think we were running low on supplies. Then, we leaked the news to Donghuai, tempting their army to attack, while our main force was already lying in wait. That's the gist of it, right? Emperor Yu looked genuinely surprised. How did you figure that out? The smile vanished, replaced by a thoughtful frown. This was top secret, known only to a handful of key officials at the War Ministry and a few trusted veterans in the Eastern Territory. How could this kid have pieced it together? Dad, the main force in Huaining City, they're all gone, aren't they? Exactly, Ning Fan sighed, running a hand through his hair. We walked right into their trap. The red sleeves weren't our asset, they were bait planted by Donghuai to lure us in. What are you saying? Emperor Yu shot to his feet, his usual regal composure gone. His face paled, disbelief etched across his features. The Eastern Territory battlefield was too critical to gamble on. Dayu was practically betting the kingdom on this campaign, it was second only to a full-scale national war in importance. If the East fell, the domino effect would destroy Dayu. The other powers would swarm in like vultures, eager to carve up the territory. Easy, Dad. Ning Fan said calmly. I've already sent word to the Duke of Zhuge. Hopefully, he can still turn the tide. Emperor Yu gripped the edge of the table, slowly regaining his composure. He spoke with steel in his voice. Wei Ying, get the civil and military officials to the imperial study. Now. Yes, Your Majesty. Round up everyone in Xiuzhao, spare no one. Better to kill 1,000 innocents than let one traitor escape. Understood. Knowing his father was in kill mode, Ning Fan strode out of the palace, Xiuzhao. Upstairs, the music was loud, the dancing lively, and dignitaries streamed in and out. The private rooms upstairs were even wilder. Surround Xiuzhao. No one leaves. Yes, sir. Jiangli barked the order, then looked at Ning Fan. Your Highness, are we moving in? I want to see this red sleeves girl myself and take her alive. As you command. With a wave of Jiang Li's hand, over 100 Jinyiwei officers charged into Xiuzhao, swords drawn. Panic erupted. The Jinyiwei. Oh, God, what did we do to deserve this? Why are they attacking Xiuzhao? We're doomed. These guys kill without batting an eye. Many of Xiuzhao's guests fell to their knees, begging for their lives. My lords. What's going on? What did we do to offend you? The old madam's face was a mask of terror. In a second-floor private room, an elegant woman sat behind a screen, playing the qin. Her fingers danced across the strings, the music becoming more urgent and frantic. The melody was chaotic, like a thunderstorm. Zheng, a string snapped with a sharp sound, and the door burst open. Several burly Jinyiwei rushed in, swords raised. Shua, two beautiful women darted from behind the screen, brandishing short swords. At the same moment, the music started up again, the woman behind the screen playing the broken string qin. The 4 Jinyiwei officers didn't hesitate. They met the maids head-on, their swords clashing. Ning Fan, followed by Jiangli, entered the private room. The music, though still intermittent, grew calmer. The clanging of steel grew more intense, a stark contrast to the melody. Miss Hongxiu, long time no see. Ning Fan smiled, a picture of relaxed elegance. I didn't expect the second prince himself to come for me. And I never imagined I'd be drawing my sword against you. Warner, Yuner, stand back. The screen was pulled aside, revealing a woman with delicate features and a serene smile. Her eyes rested on Ning Fan, and she was impressed. In just a couple of weeks, the infamous playboy had transformed. He was even more handsome, a bit more muscular. But the biggest surprise was the way he had shed his rakish air for an aura of refined grace. Your Highness, are you here on orders? You read my mind. I'm curious, how did His Majesty see through our deception? Ning Fan threw back his head and laughed. Miss Hongxiu, Donghuai isn't the only one with spies in Dayu. Maybe a general in your army, or even a high-ranking lord at court, is one of ours. Chu Hongxiu's face paled. Ning Fan continued, to be honest, from your accidental exposure, your sacrifice of the entire Red Sleeves network as bait, to your passing along Dayu's misinformation, it was all part of Dayu's plan. Impossible. Chu Hongxiu's voice was laced with shock. The court had committed everything, even sacrificing the red sleeve move, in an attempt to draw Dayu into a trap. She had meticulously planned a double bluff strategy, making them believe they were passing along false information when they had other plans. But now, it seemed Dayu had played a game within a game. Donghuai thought they were on level 3, baiting Dayu on level 2, but it seemed Dayu was operating on level 4 from the very beginning. Miss Hongxiu, if I'm not mistaken, you believe Huaining City is practically undefended, right? Even, your main force is already on its way to attack the city. Unfortunately. I'm afraid I must disappoint you. Dayu has prepared a warm welcome for them on the main road to Huaining City. Ning Fan's eyes glinted with amusement. Chu Hongxiu bit her lip, a look of despair washing over her. Her carefully orchestrated plan had not only failed, but it had put her army in grave danger. She felt a wave of helplessness wash over her. She had failed her father. Jiang Li. Sir. Verify Miss Chu's true identity. Yes, sir. After issuing the order, Ning Fan turned back to Chu Hongxiu, a playful glint in his eyes. Miss Chu, if you were willing to spend the night with me, I might consider discreetly warning your people.